They were incarcerated for a significant part of their life.
But the true captive mind is yours. This is a podcast about the human side of the people our society demonizes.
Welcome to Captive Audience, a free podcast.
Hello.
Hi.
What's your name?
Marvin Miguel Kirchhoff.
Where'd you grow up in?
Long Beach, California. Yeah. Sunshine.
Can you tell us a bit about how it was growing up there?
Long Beach is actually a very diverse city from way back when because they had a naval base there, right? So, I grew up with a lot of diversity and, unfortunately, during the 80s, in Southern California, we had crime, gangbanging, and, a lot of things started happening. Actually, in the 70s, I'm a bit older than most folks these days, it seems, but, so yeah, I was at the beginning of when a lot of, gangbanging first took off. And, so I experienced a lot in Long Beach. I've seen it change. It's crazy times back in the 70s, mid 70s, early 80s.
What's one of the things that you like the most about where you grew up in?
The water. I love the water, but I swim, I grew up swimming. So a lot of my families, they have pools in their backyard. So it's common in California, Southern Cal. So I grew up a lot in the boys club, and we would always go on day trips to the ocean, and we'd always swim. And we got an Olympic pool in Long Beach too. So yeah, Belmont Plaza. Shout out to Belmont Plaza. But okay.
Did you feel safe where you lived?
Actually, yes, because my mom, she remarried, and I had a stepfather, and he was in the military. So I actually grew up on a military base in Navy housing. Yeah, it was safe. And prior to her remarrying, we lived on the east side, which is like the lower end of Long Beach. It wasn't too safe. Coming up, when I was 7, we moved to the west side where they had Navy housing. So totally different experience.
And what did you think when you were there growing up in near naval bases and stuff? Like, what did you envision your future to look like?
I was a kid, so I didn't really have too much. I was living for the moment, but I think in the back of my mind, I was just going to follow in my stepfather's footsteps, being the military. He was a career man in the military, and, without too much thought, I just assumed that that's what I was going to do.
Did you ever feel that someone was missing?
Yes, someone. Well, okay. So, to be 100, I come from a dysfunctional family. My biological father, who everyone said was my biological father, did not claim me. So, yeah, I was missing that aspect, and it was always a big elephant in the room type situation, and I felt a certain way about that, and really didn't really understand it, but I think I took it personal. My father doesn't claim me, and I try to, you want to act as if every little boy wants to grow up and be a man. So, we're taught in this society that you don't cry, you don't do any of that. You just tough it. And so, but deep down inside, I didn't know it was affecting me, but yeah, it affected me. And I, because I didn't feel that my father cared about. So yes, I was missing something.
How has been your involvement with the system, with like incarceration and stuff? How has been your involvement?
So I'm glad you got to that, because I've had a long history with the criminal justice system from an early age. So I've done time at every level of the system, as far as juvenile, county jail, state, and federal. So my involvement has been pretty vast, and I don't know, at this point, I'm a wide open book. Okay, yeah. So
I guess, what were your challenges? What are the challenges that you can pinpoint that led you to that place in life? A lack of resources.
So, and that's why I shared the part about, for my experience, my personal experience and I see a lot of people that are vulnerable get caught up in the system. And people that are vulnerable are people that don't have, a family, a mother and a dad, lower income. People that are lower income on a socioeconomic status, they are vulnerable to be, get caught up in the system. If you don't have, it's so crucial to have that structure, as a kid. And if you don't, there's a high chance that you can fall prey to the system, because the jails are literally filled with people such as I that didn't have, for whatever reason, that structure. They're lower income, but so that is the most vulnerability.
How are your challenges inside? What was life?
It's crazy. I mean, it's like I said, I'm past that, beyond that. There's no, but it's crazy. I mean, it's a dog eat dog world, and there's a lot of pressures, and especially if you don't follow the crowd, which I have never been one to do, it's especially difficult. A lot of people coming from my background, they just want to belong. They want to feel loved. They want to belong. So the gangs and the organizations, they prey upon them, and they take that, and so it's like a lot of misguided loyalties. Just because someone embraced you, you think that you owe them something. But for me, I was never one to fall to that, so it was a little bit difficult because I had to stand on my own. But there's definite challenges because I'm black, of course you can see that, but so I'm from Long Beach, California, which Long Beach is, especially at that time, it was all blue, it was Crips, so people automatically assume that I was a Crip. I don't have anything against Crips or Bloods, but they're all the same to me. They're gangs, and I didn't agree with a lot of things that they did, and and I just couldn't get behind it. So I had my own difficulties with trying to walk my life but stay neutral. Besides that, now there's an administrative side. As far as the authorities, there's challenges there too, because they treat you all the same. So
what if you had the power to change anything in your community that you grew up in? What would you change to I guess prevent people, like you said, that are more vulnerable from falling into the system?
That's a good question, but I got to look at the realities of it. It's the prison industrial complex. Okay, it's part of the fabric of our economy, so it's not going anywhere. I mean, it's literally like if you take any industry and you say, you know what, we're going to get rid of the oil sector and all those jobs and everything, it's going to impact the economy. We live in a capitalist society, so that means everything, a lot of things are privatized and corporations are making money. So I have to be realistic and practical with, so that's not going to happen in this society. So it's like, okay, how can you impact and make a change dealing within this framework? Because two things can exist at the same time and be truth. So if it's capitalist society, prison industrial complex, they're making money, corporations, and everybody's getting rich. But they should owe some responsibility to rehabilitating the people that you are in charge of. Okay. I spent 15 years in federal prison, and I've been out for 2 years. And in the federal system, the only concern was if you get a GED. I never had a GED. I graduated from high school. So a lot of things and programs that they had designed to get didn't apply. And they didn't offer any college, okay? They didn't offer anything, educational. It was very sparse, very sparse. I mean, if I had my way, I would redesign the whole system. So incentivize, okay, education, because all the studies will show you that individuals that are incarcerated, that, complete programs, have programming, they're less likely to reoffend. Okay. But that goes to, it takes two to tangle. Okay, so it's just not on the administration themselves, or it's on the individual too. It bears some responsibility, and I think that gets glossed over a lot. Everyone just wants to blame the system, and yeah, sure, because they are the ones in control ultimately, but the individual has to get to a point where he needs to work on self too, because we come from disadvantaged backgrounds, okay, and those issues need to be addressed.
So what problems within yourself did you need to work on?
Oh my God. I had to deal with, again, I'm going to go back to where I came from, a dysfunctional family. So I had a father that in my mind said, you're not worthy of my love. And that held me in fear for so long. And I tried everything to understand that, and through rage and just, it's just at the end of the day, I'm like, it's like if he doesn't care about me, that means I'm unworthy, I'm unloved. And if I don't love myself, I don't care about anyone else. So I had to get through all of that. Okay. Come to find out, when I got out, I was like, you know what? I got to get to the bottom of this. And he's a good man. And he's like, you know what? We need to figure this out. So we did a DNA test. Comes out, he's not even my father. So, it's like the universe, I'm like, golly. But anyway, so it's like all of that for what? And crazy part about it, I go back to my mother and I'm like, Mom, everyone said this was my father. Everyone, all you guys. But she has dementia now. So she can't even, it's like, are you kidding me? You just get to ride off into the sunset and forget about, you can't even remember now. It's like, but yeah, so it's basically getting through that, and not taking it personal. Things happen for a reason, whatever.
Do you think that mental health resources would have helped you, like affordable, available psychologists, things like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thing is everything is mental. Everything, starts from here. Okay. And, if one has access, and to, have professionals to talk to, and absolutely, I'd highly recommend it. I'm in therapy now. I pay out of my pocket, and it's not cheap at all, but it's great. It's great. But again, like I said, the individual has to, it's just not on anyone. It's my responsibility, no matter what. I don't care what my circumstances were coming up, you have to have a level of responsibility about it.
How did you connect with people around you while you were inside?
How did I connect with them? I didn't try to connect with them because they were crazy. I didn't. It's like, I'm not the guy to want to fit in or go with the crowd. No. In there, even though I was a criminal, I'm not a criminal. I'm not, So, but I'm just naturally, I observe. I'm an introvert. I observe my surroundings, and then I get in where I fit in. I'm just not going to go with anything. So, eventually, you meet, they're good people everywhere in all walks of life, and you're just naturally going to gravitate to that, So that's what I did. I just didn't, the first person that embraced me, if someone tried to embrace me, as soon as I got there, no. Because to me, there's an ulterior motive, and no, let me just see what it is myself. And, I think you have to protect yourself that way in those environments.
So let's talk about like legal aspects that you, like legal barriers that you faced while you were inside.
So legal barriers, they're there, but it's like, it's the system. Okay, it's the system, really. I was a law clerk. I worked in a law library in the federal system, and I studied case law. I fought my case. I appealed. I went to the Ninth Circuit Appellate Court. I fought for years because the sentence that they gave me, was unfair. Okay. And it's political in a sense that, if you come from a certain background, if you fit that mold, you could have the same set of identical facts as someone that comes from another, let's just say, Orange County, Dana Point area, say a white guy from Dana Point, and you could have the identical history, criminal history. Okay. But, they can find a way to make a ruling, and which they did in my case, that the actual law didn't apply to me, that they gave the benefit of to someone else. So it's difficult, and it is what it is. And I don't know, I don't know. That's just the way it is. I don't know how you fix that. I really don't. But they're there.
How do you feel about the fact that you had to study law to appeal your own case? Like, did you have access to any outside legal help?
There is avenues, but there's only so many law firms that are willing to. If you don't have any money, okay, that's the key. If you have money, they're willing to work with you. But if you're just a regular Joe, okay, and you don't, then your case has to be so, compelling. There's only a few that can make that bar, that, because, but if you're just a regular Joe in your case, you were done wrong, the law wasn't applied consistently across the board to you, that happens all the time. So it doesn't even reach anyone's radar. You know what I mean? Now, if law firms, a lot of them make a reputation by winning certain cases. You have to have the certain case that can work and look good for them, that they can put in their portfolio. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of different combinations. But if you just have a regular, no, you don't get the attention.
How about mental health challenges inside?
A lot of crazy people in there. You know what I mean? And, the type of living in an artificial environment, okay, where you're monitored, 24/7, okay, your every movement, isolated, we're social creatures, okay? We need that interaction with one another, okay? And then when it's controlled to the fact, it really has an effect on the psyche. I've seen people really have a mental break, and not just from the isolation, but that's a big part, but just the whole thing, that, you don't have, you're in a jungle, basically. Okay. You're in a jungle and you see a lot of things that happen, and you really you don't know who to trust. It's like you're there by yourself, and you got other inmates that, you don't trust. You don't trust the authorities because, some people, it's, everyone does not do well in that environment.
Do you think that that jungle-like environment helps society in a way, like in having that a horrible environment inside the prison for people not wanting to go? Or do you think that maybe if it was to be changed to a more I don't know if you've seen prisons in Switzerland or things like that, where it's more comfortable, do you think that would help? Or
Absolutely. Okay, so I've done a little research on different countries and how they do their treat their prisoners or their inmates, and in a nutshell, it's how you treat people is how people will treat you or respond. Okay. And nothing is 100% across the board. Of course, some people are just incorrigible or whatever, but, generally, if you treat someone with compassion, okay, with empathy, they will, they'll respond in kind. But it's, incumbent upon the authorities to actually take the lead on that. But the other countries, Singapore, Switzerland, their recidivism rates are like super low. Ours is astronomical. Let me be clear on that. Yes.
Thank you for listening to Captive Audience, a free podcast.
Hosted by Margot Cohen
And Dana Villaseñor. I would like to thank our guests, as well as the Gould Center for Humanistic Studies at Claremont McKenna College. And remember, challenge your apathy.